Welcome in, everybody. Before we get started, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. You know, all the YouTubey things. Forget what you think you know about justice. Welcome to the Virtual Juror, where snark is reality, but evidence is royalty. Where at first we look at the FACS, or Facts and Conjecture Shared, before we get into the real stuff. Flashback to 2023. The year consequences may have decided to RSVP to Kouri Richins' party. This part of the saga kicks off on March 8th, when she was arrested for allegedly mixing her husband a permanent nightcap, otherwise known as a Moscow Mule, with a fatal fentanyl chaser. In a stunning pivot, she suddenly developed a case of hyper-specific retroactive memory, claiming he'd had an affair years prior. Evidence for this convenient revelation is, as of this writing, shall we say, purely theoretical. In short order, 11 days later, the prosecution hosted an evidence palooza for the judge. They presented pesky little things, like text messages and witness testimony during a detention hearing. But while pondering her legal predicament on June 9th, Kouri decided the real victim here, and most wrong person, was naturally herself. Her brilliant solution? Sue her deceased husband's estate for the house and a boatload of cash. Because nothing says I'm the innocent, grieving widow like demanding the assets of the person you're accused of removing from this plane. It's a bold strategy that reads more like, my only regret is that I can't bill his estate for legal fees. Her lawyers kept the momentum going June 10th, by presumably with a straight face arguing that there was a lack of substantial evidence, and she should totally be released from jail. And on June 12th, after reviewing her maxed out credit cards, massive debt, and a $1.2 million life insurance policy with her name on it, the judge, shockingly, disagreed. Bail was denied, in a twist that surprised absolutely no one. She was deemed a substantial danger and a flight risk, which seems to be a mild way of putting it. Not to be outdone in the legal department, on June 27th, Eric's sister Katie filed her own "Excuse me, you did what?" lawsuit for a cool $13 million, and tried to halt the sale of Kouri's children's book. Overwhelmed by having to fend off both criminal charges and her in-laws, Kouri requested a strategic timeout, filing a motion to pause the civil suit. In August, a judge made the radical ruling that perhaps the woman accused of murdering Eric should not oversee his money, awarding a partial summary judgment in favor of Katie Richins Benson, giving her control of the trust and denying Kouri's motion to give power to herself. At the same time, the judge did not rule on Kouri's motion seeking to replace Katie as the trustee of the estate. On the 18th, the state graciously took the death penalty off the table, after careful consultation with Eric's family. Perhaps less an act of mercy and more a strategic move to save taxpayers from funding decades of inevitable appeals. Then came September 15th, and the plot thickened. Seemingly out of nowhere, a 6-page letter, lovingly dubbed the Walk the Dog letter, was discovered in Kouri's cell. In it, Kouri allegedly coached her brother on how to commit perjury, prompting the state to file a motion for a no-contact order between Kouri and members of her family. But Kouri, revealing her secret passion for creative writing, claimed this was merely a misunderstood excerpt from her forthcoming prison novel. An interesting choice, given it was addressed to her mother and used her brother's real name. Her lawyers then attempted a legal 5D chess move, arguing the publicity from this entirely fictional letter had hopelessly tainted the jury pool. So the case must be dismissed, citing prosecutorial misconduct and stating the state had violated the court's gag order. The judge, unimpressed, denied the motion, stating the case had already received extensive media coverage and appointed a special review counsel, the court's official literary critic, to read the 60-page novel and determine if it was a privileged legal document, or, a laughably transparent attempt at witness tampering. In December, the year closed, with this attorney being walled off from the prosecution, creating a hermetically sealed book club of one. to decide the fate of Corey's literary and legal ambitions. Well, that's all we have. So as always, love your family, love your pets, love your neighbors, and we'll see you next time.